I like to paint dolls, and today I'm painting this jacked Amazonian chick.
I like to paint dolls.
I follow Berserk Studios on Patreon, and they released this model of Wonder Woman several months ago as part of a series doing all of the main characters from Kingdom Come, which is my favorite comic series of all time. I just did the Superman, and for some reason, a lot of people really liked that video. Very grateful for that. Well, this is the second part of that series. I'm going to end up doing all of them, not in a row, but you'll get to see them all eventually. And they just announced Green Lantern, which is really cool. I printed this model on my Uniformation GK-3 and Anycubic Photon P1. There was no drama whatsoever. It printed beautifully. I post-processed everything like I normally do, using several Dremel attachments and all of that just to remove the support marks and all that good stuff. And to get started on painting this, I started out by priming the entire base with black, and then the challenge became painting it gold. The entire base is gold, and I needed to find something that would make my life a little easier to accomplish that, and I tried for the first time the Vallejo liquid metal paint, and I gotta be honest, I like it a lot. I don't think I picked the right colors, but I do like this paint a lot. It goes on really well, it covers really well, and it gives you that metallic gold effect. Now, full transparency, I have found a replacement for this that I'm much happier with. You'll see that in future videos. But for this one, it worked out really, really well to make this huge base completely gold, basically in 2 steps. I started off with Vallejo liquid metal old gold, and then for the highlight areas, I used rich gold. I don't know if this was a waste of time or not. I don't know if the rich gold really made that much of a difference. I also don't know if they have like a bright gold or something like that. I think that would have probably worked out a little better, but overall, I'm happy with the gold on this base. It worked out pretty good. This paint sprays like a dream. I bought it at Hobbytown, USA. It's a great product, but like I said, I have found a replacement for this, and it's going to be what I use for every project moving forward that requires any gold on it at all. But, you know, for this one, the liquid metal from Vallejo, it worked fine.
Brush the gold and red, masking tape and light, hands move like a ritual.
The way this model's designed, I knew I was going to end up masking some things to get this painted right. And I decided to paint the skin tones first, and then I could mask that off to paint all of the armor and all of that stuff. So to paint the skin tones, I started by priming Diana entirely in black, and then coming in with a white primer and using that as a zenithal for the skin tone areas. And then after that was dry, I can start the layer building process for the skin tones, starting with Vallejo Violet Red. I cover the entire model with this, and then I add a little bit extra in the shadow areas to just make those a little deeper red. And then once all of that's dry, I start with my first skin tone color, which is Vallejo Brown Rose. I've said it so many times. This is my favorite skin tone color. I absolutely love it, but it's very, very pink. And when you're putting that over top of Violet Red, it makes it even more pink. So we need to tone that down a little bit. And I did that with Flat Flesh from Vallejo, spraying it from the top, but also a little bit in the shadow areas, just to, again, remove some of that pinky red in the shadow areas. But I wanted the shadow areas to stay a little bit darker. And then once that was all dried, I went with Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl. I don't really know which one to call it. Do we call it Pro Acryl or Monument Hobbies? Who cares? You know what it is. It is Tan Flesh. And this is where I start spraying everything basically from the top. I'm starting to build the highlights with that Tan Flesh, but We need to address those shadow areas, which I did with Scale 75 Orcish Dermis, and yes, this paint really is that magic formula that a lot of people talk about. It just really brings life back into the skin tones, makes it look absolutely fantastic. But we're not done yet, because I still needed to use Vallejo Basic Skin Tone on just the highlight areas, the peaks of Diana's muscles, and she is jacked in this model, so there's a lot of muscles to highlight. I just want to touch the tops of all of her muscles, her shoulders, top of her nose, cheekbones, things like that, to just really pop those highlights. And then once all of that's done, I seal everything in and protect it and add another layer that really makes it look like skin, which is Vallejo Satin Varnish Top Coat. I buy it in a rattle can and it works really, really well. Cover everything with that and it just brings it to life. I don't know. Once all of the skin was completely dry, I masked all of that off with silly putty and some tape and paper and all kinds of stuff, and I got started on the reds. For the reds, I used Mephiston Red from Citadel, and while I'm spraying all of this red, I do want to take a second to talk about something that I don't have to talk about, I'm not obligated to, but I want to do it anyway, because I believe in giving credit where credit's due. You can see throughout this entire video, I'm using an airbrush that you might not have seen on this channel before. It is the Harder & Steenbeck Evolution 24, and I just have to tell you, as somebody that's used airbrushes for over 20 years, this is by far the best airbrush I have ever used, and it's not even up for debate. This thing is absolutely incredible. Yes, I know. H&S airbrushes are a little bit pricey, but let me tell you, when you get one in your hands, you feel the difference. I can't explain it. It is just magic. Their airbrushes are fantastic. They sent me this for my other channel, and I'm under no obligation whatsoever to talk about it here, but like I said, I wanted to do it anyway, because this airbrush is just freaking fantastic. Yes, absolutely worth the extra money. You can keep buying the cheap junk off Amazon, but let me tell you, when you're 5 airbrushes deep into this hobby, I'm still going to be using this one, and guess what? I'm still going to have a smile on my face. All right, back to the painting. Once the Mephiston Red was on all of the red parts, I shaded it with Citadel's Berserker Bloodshade, spraying it into all of the shadow areas and the folds of the boots and things like that, and then moved on to the, I don't even know what you call this thing, skirt, butt flap, hoo-hoo flap, I don't know what it is. Alex Ross had a very unique design for the bottom section of this Diana Prince, but I painted this with dark blue from Vallejo, and I realized it wasn't dark enough, so I did the next best thing. I moved up to infantry blue from Vallejo, and well, that wasn't dark enough either, so I moved to continental blue to get this thing almost black. It's like a super duper dark navy blue, and that continental blue did perfect for that. So yeah, it took me 3 colors to get it, but once I got it, it looks good. Now let's move on to the gold. I wanted the gold on Diana's armor to stand out from the base. I wanted it to be a brighter gold, and shout out to the 3D painter on YouTube. He actually gave me a couple of recommendations during one of the live streams of some colors to try out. So I ran out to the local nerd store and bought a couple of Citadel colors, and then brought them home and tested them out on some old parts that I had from other prints, and came up with a process that I like a lot, which starts off with coating everything with that Mephiston Red, and then putting on a coat of Retributor armor from Citadel. And this is where things got weird, because there's another step to this, but for some reason, I don't recall why, I chose to not do that second step until I had done a bunch of other things. So I guess I just based everything with the Retributor and then moved on to the boots and the butt hoo-hoo flap, and then I came back to it. So we'll come back to the gold in just a minute, but I moved on to the boots, that white stripe on the boots, starting off with deck tan, which I thought was going to be enough. Again, turned out that it wasn't. And then on the butt hoo-hoo flap, I needed to start painting those stars, and those definitely take forever. I had to put 2 coats on using deck tan from Vallejo, but again, this is another one of those things that was just very therapeutic for me. Berserk did a really good job of sculpting these stars in, so it made it kind of easy to just use the edge of the brush to go through and paint all of the stars. They didn't all turn out to be absolutely perfect, but if you're far enough away, they look good enough. Now again, I don't know why I did this in the order I did, but the way you're seeing this video is the exact order that I did everything. So I'm not moving things around or anything like that. But anyway, I moved on to the face and started off by painting the entire eye cavity and the sculpted eyelashes on Diana black. And then for the whites of the eyes, I used deck tan, a few coats of deck tan to get it in there nice and smooth, and also nice and kind of bright, but not too bright. And then I moved on to the irises, which I used dark Prussian blue to get the outline of the eyes. Now, Berserk sculpts their irises in, so it makes it very easy. You don't have to worry about the eyes looking wonky. Once those were laid out, I started coming in with lighter shades of blue, just putting the slightest amount on the tip of my brush and just kind of tapping it into the iris to add little flakes and little flecks all over. I don't know if fleck is a word, but it sounded good. Rather than coloring it in solid, I wanted it to just be a bunch of teeny tiny little dots in the iris, just to try to make it look as real as possible. And then of course, once those were all nice and bright blue, I used black for the pupil. I added a white dot on the corners of each iris and then coated it with gloss top coat, and the eyes were done. I would go into a lot more detail on the eyes because it is my favorite part of this whole process, but I don't know what you want to hear from me and what you don't. So I'm still trying to figure this whole YouTube thing out. For her lips, I started off using like a skin tone color, and I don't know why. It might be that I messed something up and I wanted to kind of start over again, so I put a skin tone color on there and they looked absolutely ridiculous. But I came in with Magos Purple, very thin coats, like 2 or 3 coats to darken them up a little bit. The lips looked great. I also covered them with gloss top coat, and the face is done. Now back to the gold. Again, I don't know why I did this in the order that I did, but there had to be some kind of reason. I suppose it probably made sense at the time, but I wanted to brighten that gold up, and for that I used Auric Armor from Citadel. This is the color that was recommended to me by the 3D painter, and I'm glad he recommended it to me because it really did brighten that gold up, made it look absolutely shiny and fantastic. This is the way we want gold to look when we paint it on our models. So big shout out to Ron for that. Thank you for that recommendation. I put all of that onto all of the gold armor parts, including the big diamond shaped belt that she has, which I don't think I have footage of me actually painting that, but Auric Armor went on all of that, and it looks great. With the gold finally done, I moved on to the hair, and for that I just used straight up black from Vallejo. And I also forgot to talk about it earlier, but I used that same black on her eyebrows. Now there's a couple more pieces of armor left, and these parts are not gold. These are her gauntlets, and they needed to be silver, so I painted them silver using Citadel Iron Hands Steel. Simple. All right, now it's time to move on to the shield, and this shield sits front and center in the base of this model. So I had to take my time on this. It had to look good. I started off by painting the entire thing with that Mephiston red so that it matched all of the other reds in the model. And then I used deep Prussian blue to paint the 2 blue stripes around the edges, and then that same Iron Hands Steel to paint the silver stripe going through, the 2 silver stripes actually. And then I had to go through and do the entire gold process that I had done on all of the other parts of Diana because I wanted it to match her armor. I used the Retributor gold to get the first coat on the 2 Ws and all of those stars that go around the perimeter, as well as the perimeter itself, and then came back in with the Auric armor, and then the shield was done. It took a long time. It took me like 3 sessions to get it done, but it was worth it. And I know I keep saying it, but this is therapy for me. Even sitting there painting these little teeny stars, it's just something I really enjoy doing, and I don't mind it. I don't look at it as a chore. I look at it as a way to just zone out and enjoy myself, and then when it's all said and done, you get to be real proud of the results. And I'm real happy with the way this shield turned out. As I said earlier, when I painted the stripe on the boots and the stars on the butt flap, I thought that the deck tan was going to be enough, but it wasn't. It was too dull. I wanted them to really pop and be bright, so I went over all of that again just with straight white from Vallejo, and it did the trick. It made it exactly the way I wanted it, and then moved on to the Lasso of Truth. The Lasso of Truth compels you to tell the truth, and the truth is, I just painted it with gold from Vallejo. Again, wanting this to stand out from all of the other golds. It's supposed to be glowing. I don't know how to do that, so I just painted it gold, and damn it, I'm happy with it. We are so close to being done with this broad, but there's a few final details we have to handle. First, the star on her tiara. I just painted that with Mephiston red like I did all of the other reds on this model. But then on the back of the base, there's a wing and her sword. These are part of her battle getup. There's a big battle in Kingdom Come where she actually wears that. And this needs to match her armor that she has on her suit. So I used the exact same process that I've already talked about multiple times, painting it with the Mephiston red, then Retributor armor gold, and then Auric armor gold, and then those were done. I painted the blade silver. These are in the back. You're never really even going to see them, but they still had to be done. And then there's one final detail that I don't even know if I got any footage of me painting it, but the bottom of her boots are also gold. So while I had all that gold out, I took care of those too. And then as far as the painting goes, that's it. Apparently, I am not being affected by the Lasso of Truth because I just lied to you. There are some rocks that go around the base of the base. I painted those with a black gray and then dry brushed them with a lighter gray and then dry brushed it again with deck tan. Now we're done with the painting. Mark Waid and Alex Ross created Kingdom Come back in 1996, and there are a lot of characters in that book. But I gotta tell you, my 2 favorite by far are Superman and Wonder Woman. Superman because, of course, but then Wonder Woman because this is the version of Wonder Woman that we want. She is a savage. She is a badass in this story. She's not this wholesome, nice, everything's love, everything's peaches and rainbows. No, she is a no-nonsense, take no shit badass, and I absolutely love that about her in this. And this model by Berserk is a perfect representation of that. She's beautiful while also being jacked, and it's just a great pose. I love it so much. I was actually just as excited about this one as I was the Superman when Berserk released it. So well done, Berserk. I'm super happy about this, and I can't wait to do the other models that are in this series. Again, stay tuned if you want to see those. I'm going to be doing them all eventually. The next one is probably going to be Shazam, maybe the Spectre. I don't know, but I'm really excited about this whole series of Kingdom Come, and I hope you're enjoying it too. It's been a lot of fun to do this. It's been fun to do the models and also make the videos about it. So if you like it, then that makes me happy. So thank you for making me happy today. Okay, this is getting weird. Thanks for watching. So long now.